Such an impactful story there. And joining us now to talk about the challenges after these devastating wildfires is Chauncia Willis Johnson. She's the CEO of the Institute for Diversity and Inclusion in Emergency Management. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's, you have to go to so many of these disasters and you talk to all of the victims. Being here in California, what are you learning from the people in Altadena?
I'm learning that they are survivors. I'm learning that they have a heart for survival, a heart for Altadena, and a heart for California. They want to rebuild for the most part and come back stronger.
The rebuilding process to many people seems like it's going to be full of red tape and really hard to do. Part of your job is to try to facilitate and make it a little bit easier. How will you do that?
Well, a lot of prayer and really a lot of coalition building. As soon as we arrive, we bring our community engagement team members, our response teams, and they go out and they talk to the residents to understand what are the pain points, what are those things that are really challenging. And recovery after a disaster is so hard and frightening. And so we just want them to know they will make it and they'll come out stronger and even more resilient.
It's hard because systemically there's been issues for, we heard in the piece that our Pat Harvey just did, is that, this community was built after redlining was happening. And so it was able to be such a vibrant community, 81% homeownership rates among the Black community there. Is this especially hard when you have a community like this that's been hit?
Yes, Altadena is a special community. It has a rich history, and the people there know their history. And that's what makes it so significant that we do encourage rebuilding, because disaster gentrification is a real thing, and it often happens after disasters in the most historically marginalized communities. And we don't want that to happen. We want everyone to recover and rebuild and come back stronger.
Well, as we heard the woman in that story say that gentrification may happen. She understands. She doesn't want colonization.
Yeah.
What is the difference? Can you break that down for people?
There's a real difference. Sometimes gentrification can be positive, especially if it stabilizes the economy of the community, if it helps to rebuild the houses, if it helps to get rid of blight. Gentrification can be used and it can happen in a good way. But colonization is where you're changing the identity of the community, where the stores are no longer owned and operated by community members, by people who are small business owners who live in that community and help that community thrive with great identity.
So you said your first course of action is listening to the pain points. What are the pain points right now for people?
Well, right now, as we talked about, it's the lack of information. There's an information vacuum, and sometimes that can be because a lot of the residents that were impacted were elderly. Even though the median age for home ownership in Altadena is about 43 years old, Altadena has a lot of elderly residents, and there's a digital information divide. And I'm happy to say we're seeing that the county is really addressing that head on to provide as much information as possible to the residents so that they know how to make great decisions about recovery.
Well, we have a statistic that it says around 4% of the senior community says that they will not rebuild in Altadena. Yeah. To me, that's heartbreaking because seniors not only, are an important part of the community just being there, but they share stories of what the community was and provide that history and that context. When you see a number like that, what are the challenges specifically for seniors, and how do you get some of these people maybe to think twice about leaving?
Yes, we've been having that conversation with a lot of the survivors from Altadena, and it's because it's very intimidating. Some of them are 80 years old plus, and the insurance payouts aren't going to happen in a lump sum. They're going to happen slowly each month. So even if you did have enough insurance, you're not going to get a lump sum. And so what do you do? So the easiest thing to do is to sell the house and find another place to start over quickly. And so that 4%, most likely, they're looking to just enjoy the rest of their life.
Which you can't fault them for, but that goes back to what you were talking about earlier of who then buys those homes and how does that change the community?
Yes, if investors are picking those properties up quickly, then that community, the fabric of it will change. And so we want to really make sure that we are encouraging everyone to take advantage of the county and state resources to remain in Altadena, to rebuild and come back stronger.
Well, thank you so much, Chauncia Willis Johnson, for being here, and thank you for all the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
There are community meetings in Altadena, by the way, to help residents recovering from the Eaton Fire. We have more information on those on our website at kcalnews.com. All you have to do is click Seen on TV. And